Hi, it's Dia. Today I thought it would be interesting to do an experiment in a coloring book with a graphite pencil. I discovered this Prismacolor Ebony Jet Black Extra Smooth pencil at a local art store called Jerry's. I use it quite a bit for sketching out big details, for getting the first draft down of something. It's super soft and it's super black. I thought it would be interesting to see if we could take an image. This one happens to be from Penelope's garden, and strictly color it in graphite. So I was thinking this might be a complete bust, but it might sort of show an interesting way to figure out shadows. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it'll be cool, but we'll find out. I'm also going to tell you, since it's October and I love this time of year, not really a creepy story, but some interesting things that typically happen to me during this time of year. And a lot of it has to do with photography, so we'll get to that a little bit later. Now, this pencil is so dark that it's kind of hard to be subtle. So what I'm trying to do here is start the shadow area, and I think that I have to get used to it because I'm not used to using this pencil for anything except really quick outlines. Not quite doodles, but like a first sketch. And as you can see, when I try to shade here, it is dark. So what I'm doing is almost creating an underpainting. And if you've ever done an oil painting, or sometimes you can even do it with watercolor, you can, before you hit the colors, you do an underpainting of the actual image. And what you're doing is laying out the shadows first. Some people use grays, some people use sort of flesh tones and brown. And this is, I guess, a version of that, but in graphite. This is also interesting because I want to find out if this type of pencil is good for me for anything except for what I was using it for. Did that make sense? Meaning, is this actually something that I'll be able to use in the future for other images? I used to do portraits. And I would always start with the lightest and hardest pencil first. First of all, the harder pencils can be easier to erase. Now that being said, I find if you push too hard with those pencils, it can be hard to erase because you've left a mark in the surface, especially if there's a whole lot of tooth. Now I'm leaving this light over here because the moon is sort of casting a shadow this way. Now on this side over here, it probably wouldn't show up as much, but for the sake of this image, I'm going to, and for the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to leave a little bit more light than I normally would, just because this is all black and white. Okay, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna start my little bit of a creepy story. My dad's a photographer, and I like taking pictures too. And I'm always snapping images with my phone. And not that I carry around my big Nikon all the time, but I have it with me quite a bit. And I have a spooky, I don't know what it is, that seems to follow me, especially during this time of year. So I'm going to show you the first image. This image was from a book. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Edward Gorey, but he's a relatively famous cartoonist. I think that in his time he was super famous. And when I was a kid, he sort of repulsed and fascinated me at the same time. I was probably a little too young to be reading and seeing his comics, but they were in my aunt's house and they were in our house because my dad had one given to him by my aunt. And I, you know, like any young kid, you're fascinated probably by the stuff that you're not supposed to see the most. Anyway, so I received this book from a friend for my birthday a few years ago, and it's all in black and white. And if you're familiar with Edward Gorey at all, most of his images are in black and white. Some of his earlier stuff, he did a few children's books, or maybe even one children's book, and it was in color. And some of his images are colored, but most of it is black and white pen and ink. Anyway, so this image that I remember from a child, I went right to it. It's an image, as I'll show you in a second, of a candle floating in the air. And this image is completely black and white in the book. And when I went to take a picture of this image for my friend to say thank you, I love this image, it's been a favorite image since I was a kid, well, take a look. That black and white image of a candle has an inexplicable orange glow, and there was no flash on my camera. Now, do I think it's anything? I don't know. Part of me always thinks with that picture it was something, because what the heck? If you have an answer to that, tell me what you think, because that to me was a little freaky. And I sent her that image the minute I took it. I remember I was sitting in a car outside of a yoga studio on a weekend, and we were a little befuddled, to say the least. So anyway, back to the drawing. Okay, I'm getting more used to using the pencil. I also am, let me see if I can show you this. Ooh, that was good. See that reflection right there? I kind of made a flat surface. And that flat surface is making a really nice, smooth, lighter shadow. So what does that mean to me? Okay. I guess I have to press very lightly for the lighter shadows and maybe get one of those little flat surfaces going. I don't think there would be that much of a reflection right here, because that would be more in the shadow. The direction of light is really important in pictures, and that and perspective was something that I really had to get used to, and still, I can't say I struggle with it, but I'm super conscious of it. Okay, Okay, this would probably even be in darker shadow. That would be the dark side of the pumpkin. Maybe over here would be a little lighter. There would be a little bit of a reflection from the sky and the stars. So this pencil feels so nice to use. You know what? I should probably look it up. I don't know if it's equal to a 6B. I would probably, I think it's safe to say it's not an H. There's nothing H about this. I'm not sure this picture is going to be as beautiful as images come out when they're fully colored, but it's kind of, I'm liking this. And it's going a little Edward Gorey, if you ask me. Oh, you know what else? Let's do a leaf. Is this sharp enough? It is. You can see a few details, but we can add some more veins to these leaves. I'm gonna leave this side. There's dotted lines here, so I'm going to take those dotted lines and use them. You know what? I'm going to sharpen this. Hold on. Comes out really dark when it's first sharpened. So I'm going to start in the areas that I want the darkest, which is right around the vein in the center, so it shows up the most. Oop, there's another little vein right there. I'm going to also highlight. Or it was an indicator of a vein in black and white. I'm taking my time because it's kind of little. Okay, now back to my weird pictures. I was driving home from my parents' house, and it was sort of foggy, dreary, and not very late, but late enough, you know, that it looks sort of dark and misty. And there's an old golf course not too far from their house, and the old, I don't know if it was the house where everybody sort of gathered after golfing, or it had a little bar in there. I'm not quite sure, but that house still stands. And there's a giant tree out in the front, and there's still some lights there because they do use that area now for concerts and other things, and I think it's attached to a park. So it looked really eerie. It was quiet outside, so I thought, I'm going to pull over real fast. There's no cars. I'm surrounded by woods, and I'm going to just snap a picture because it kind of like was bringing back old memories, and the light seemed really interesting. Well, take a look at this. Take a look at what showed up in the image. Look at the tree in the foreground. There seems to me to be a woman with arms over her head. Another what the heck moment. It's a pattern, and I have a few more. So stay tuned. I hope you're enjoying this black and white, because I'm having a really good time. And I'm going to get back to the leaf now. And I want to tell you, if you're following me just for fun, you totally, or anytime, don't feel compelled to follow me exactly. If you want to use a colored pencil to follow, or colored pencils while I'm doing this, go for it. It's all an experiment. I've never really done this with a regular pencil, so I thought it would be fun. So I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. I'm gonna leave a little area over here because I feel like the moon might be reflecting on the edge of the leaf too. Now, as I go out toward the edge, I'm getting lighter anyway, but I'm gonna go very light here. And I should have left a little bit of light here too, so the leaf would have a convex kind of feel to it. You know what? And since it's a regular pencil, I can grab my, oh my gosh, I love this thing, and I probably talk about it too much. Tombow, I love this thing, just so you know. This is a mono zero eraser. Look at this little tip. So, like I said, since it's a regular pencil, we can go in and erase. This is interesting. Since it's so dark, it's given me a bit of a hard time. Not that much. You can see it. And that gave exactly the effect that I wanted. It looks a little silly right now, but you'll see when the leaf is done how that light area makes it stand out a little more and gives the leaf a feeling of it being bent right there and a reflection of the moon. And now for the rest of it, I'm not going to have to erase. I'm just going to remember to leave that for an effect. You know, and maybe the leaf would be curled up a little bit here too, meaning in this area. Once again, I'm rethinking this. Maybe the leaf should be like almost a little ripply. Let's see if we can do that. Once again, that area's a little dark, right next to the vein. Since those veins are so thin, it's good to leave that a little bit darker, in my humble opinion, just so it stands out a little bit more. Now I'm going to go a little bit lighter right here, because I feel like the leaf would be bent upward. You know what? I'm going back, I'm going over that. I changed my mind. Oh my gosh, and it's so nice and easy when you're not using colored pencils. And what I'm going to do, keep that dark, and then I'm going to go lighter right here so the leaf appears to be bent right there. So this part of the leaf would be sort of puckered up or convex. And then when it goes to the edge, maybe get a little bit darker, because if it's going downward, this part of the leaf would be in the shadow. And truth be told, you do not have to think this hard if you're coloring, but I thought this would be fun. So this part's dark, and it's gonna blend, start to blend in with that lighter part right here. It's a little bit of an edge right there. I'm gonna leave it lighter in case the leaf's curling up right there. Okay, I have a few more creepy pictures to talk about, and the rest of them are even more creepy than the other two. The last few Halloweens, I've decorated my house, and I've gone on a few little spooky picture taking adventures, because once I started getting these creepy pictures, I tried to get some more, not always successfully, and sometimes they just happen out of nowhere, like that candle, and like that lady. So there's a spot near my house on Gallows Hill Road, and it sounds exactly like what it is there. That's supposed to be one of the most haunted areas in New Jersey, and there's a spot that has the post that used to be an actual gallows where they hung, I don't know, countless unfortunate people many, many years ago, but it still stands there. So one night, and it's the crazy thing is it's on somebody's front lawn. So I took a drive, and it was pitch black. I want to say it was either 12 or 3 in the morning, because I wanted to take it specifically at a creepy time. So this time I actually went looking for something creepy. I took 3 snapshots with my iPhone 4, sort of catty corner, so you can't see the house, but you can see the street beyond. And I'll show you the image that I ended up with. Super creepy. It even came out in color this time. This one is probably the creepiest if you can actually get your eyes to see it. It's right in the middle. It's green, and it's like a profile of a creepy face. It's getting a little dark at this point, and I have lights over here, and I have lights from this side, and they're both casting shadows, as you can see, and I hope it still works out, because I usually try to film during the day most of the time, because over here is a giant set of windows. So we'll see. Although the video is slightly creepy, so I hope you can see, because it sort of feels fitting to do this at dusk. Well, I have to say, I'm loving this. Not necessarily the way it looks, although it looks pretty cool too. I'm loving the pencil. I would recommend this pencil just because it feels so good. It's definitely graphite, although it's almost, I don't know, well, I was gonna say it's almost as dark as charcoal, but it does get shiny. after you push for a while, just like all graphite, where charcoal just gets, you know, intense inky black. There's no dust here really, unlike charcoal. So I don't know if any people who truly like to color would be as interested in this pencil or even doing this style, but I think it's kind of an interesting experiment because it's a real interesting and nice way to get used to shadows without worrying about the tones of the colored pencils, because it's complicated. Colored pencils are complicated. Art is complicated to begin with, if you want it to be. Meaning, if you really want to look at it and get down to the nitty-gritty of things, there's a lot to know. You know, I feel like this is bent right here, so I'm going to make this darker so the shadow would even cover some of that. So as you can see also from this is a nice way to view, a simplified way to view depth. So anywhere the colored pencil is darker, it feels like it recedes, and anywhere it's lighter, it feels like it stands out more. This would be in the shadow too, since this part of the leaf would be standing up in my head. Okay, so this is all in shadow, so even that white vein would be darker. And the area over here, if this vein is standing up a little more, would be darker too, because it would be casting a shadow. Coming down a little bit too. So this side might be a little bit darker, and this side would be a little bit darker of the veins. I made that the darkest part because I thought that would be underneath a little bit. This would be the lightest part in my opinion. And then it would start to get darker again as it gets closer to the pumpkin. I made the shadows here. You can go over them or you can just leave them the way they are. See, the shadow of the mouse would be in that direction. And make it a little bit bigger. Okay, I have one more creepy picture. Well, I have dozens of creepy pictures, but I have one more that I figured that I would include in this little session. It's another face, and it kind of looks like the face in the previous picture. These freak out my sister, and I'll show you the next one. Well, let me tell you the story first. It was it last year or the year before? I entered a contest, and the winner received a CD of creepy Halloween noises, which reminded me of the Disney album from when I was a kid. I don't know what it was called. I think it was Sounds of the Haunted House or Sounds of the Haunted Mansion. Anyway, I entered this contest and I won, which I was kind of happy about, of course. And they sent me the CD, and I was gonna put a picture of myself basically saying, thank you, I love your creepy music. And then when I took the picture, this is what I got. So just look to the left of the house and you'll see a white, weird face. And that's all the weird pictures I have for the day. I have plenty more. I have orbs. I have so many odd things. I have orbs. I have pictures that I accidentally took in my closet. You know, when you're walking around with your phone, click, and there appears to be, once again, some kind of face. So I don't know what this is. Is it a bunch of weird coincidences? It very well could be. I'm not quite sure. But I do know that I don't like the way this came out. So, once again, oh, happy day. It's a pencil, so we don't have to worry. So what I'm going to do here is make this leaf a little less detail-y. I didn't like that. There was a little too much going on. So I'm going to draw in. Do I like that? No, I don't. I'm going to make a couple more of these branch out. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to kind of ignore this. And just go from here. Anyway, I'm going to cover that up too. So what I'm going to do from here is just color the rest. I have no idea what it's going to look like. I don't know what it's probably going to just look like a pencil drawing. So we'll see. We'll see if this was something that I would do again, if I like the way it came out. If you like the way it came out, tell me what you think so far, and tell me if you like my creepy little stories. I hope you do. I like Halloween, and I like anything with a spooky twist to it. So I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and if you have any creepy stories or spooky stories or anything Halloweeny, I hope you tell me. And if you do, and you don't want to leave it in the comment, you can always join my coloring group. We can post them there. Ooh, that might be fun for Halloween, actually. Have a little bit of a story session. We can make some tea or witch's brew, and we could hang out, maybe even on mischief night. I don't know what you call that. It's the day before Halloween, but here in New Jersey we call that night mischief night. So that might be fun. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to make this pumpkin a little bit more realistic. And as you know, the pumpkin surface wouldn't be smooth. There's lines in it. There's different colors in it. the lines always go vertically, and they would be less obvious in the highlighted area. In fact, some of them would even get blotted out just because of the reflection, and they would appear darker in the shadow. And you know what? This little guy, there would be a shadow of his ears right under here. I don't think his little head, maybe, I don't think his head would really show because his ears seem to be popping out a bit more than his head does from that little hidey hole. So let's just make a small of his head. There we go. And the ears a little bit more. I think that would be longer, possibly. That's it for now. I will finish the video I'm sorry, I'll finish this black and white in another video for anybody who wants to see the rest of it. I hope you like this, and I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I will see you soon. I hope you subscribe to me, and I hope you follow me on my Facebook page, Lenihan Coloring Gallery, and that's it for now. Welcome to this spooky time of year. Thanks. Bye.